Good evening and welcome to Valley Lutheran High School on one of two launch nights that we have here this evening, getting us ready for this new school year, which I'm super excited about. My name is Billy Schmela, and I get to serve as your Dean of Students this year, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming school year. My job tonight is to simply go over a few things, some important dates, some policy reminders, and some other general reminders at the end. So let's get into it. First thing I want to go over is important dates. Important dates, first day of school, right? Let's talk about that briefly. It is a Tuesday, August 20th. We begin at 8:39. Make sure you set your alarms and don't be late. Next one, homecoming weekend. That's going to be here sooner than we think. September 20th through the 21st. You guys know what that entails, all the way from the tailgating on Friday, the floats, the football game, and the dance. Lots going on that weekend. Our theme this year is based on the Hunger Games. It's going to be called the Homecoming Games, and I think the tagline is something like "May the odds always be in your favor." Look to buying one of those T-shirts to support that. You can check with anybody in the office to get more information on that. The next dates I want to share is our service days. These are 2 times throughout the school year that we as Valley Lutheran High School get to go out and serve our community and be the hands and feet of Christ. And we do that in a variety of ways. If you have any ideas where your family group and you guys can serve, please notify your family group as soon as you can. The fall one's going to be September 25th, and the spring one is going to be May 21st. An awesome opportunity for all of us to be involved and go out and serve in our community, and I can't wait for those dates. Next, some policy reminders. Before I get going on that, let me just remind you, please read your student handbook. You will learn so much in there. You'll learn about Valley, why we do what we do, and who we are, and what we expect of you, so you can experience the best time in high school that you can, not only socially, but physically and mentally and academically. So get into that book, find out what it says. We're going to touch on some things tonight, but there's going to be a lot more in there that you can learn about. And again, what's expected of you as a student at Valley. One of the first ones we need to talk about is attendance. These are recorded by semester. Guys, it's so important for you to be here to be a success. All right? Be here as often as you can, and I know there are things that come up, whether it be doctor's appointments or an illness, and we'll get into that briefly. You get 10 per semester. After that, you will be notified that you're in jeopardy of possible grade reduction because of those absences. And again, I know there's many different reasons why we can be absent, but for whatever reason, we have to count all absences so we know where you're at all times. We take pride in that. It's not only for this sort of thing, but just for your safety so we know where you're at. Doctor's notes are needed for an excused absence, all right? You can't just stay home because you want to. If you have an illness and you go to the doctor, make sure you get that note, because that excuse that absence, which is huge if you plan on practicing or participating in any extracurricular activity after school, whether it be music, drama, sports, you name it. You have to be at school all day in order to participate. If you do not have a doctor's note, you can't participate. But if you do, it can be excused, and that's how we do that. Tardies. Let's talk about tardies. You get those recorded every quarter, not semesters, but every quarter. You can be tardy for arriving at school late. You can be tardy in between classes. Make sure that you plan ahead so that you're not. You're given 5 tardies per quarter. And after that, that results in a Thursday school, which is an after-school detention for 3 hours. That means then you don't get to participate in any games or extracurricular activities or anything like that after school. You have to fulfill that first. Find out what your teacher's policy is. What is their policy to not be tardy? Just in the classroom and in their seat. It's going to be different for every teacher, so make sure you find out about that. Let me remind you once again, Redeker is not a live look at attendance. We monitor over 300 students, so it's tough to keep that up to date as a live thing. If you have anything in question, check with me or the front secretaries, and they will let you know. Beverages. I know a lot of you drink coffee and or energy drinks. Please, the best that you can, put them in a closable container, because this will help keep them from spilling. A lot of people last year came in with just a can of something or a coffee cup from Tim Hortons. Pour that into a closable container so that prevents spills. We do a lot over the summer to get our school ready for you guys. Not only but just cleaning and getting things ready. We clean our carpets. Last thing we want is an accident to cause a big stain that we have to deal with later. Get those drinks in a closable container as best you can. Thanks. Next, the favorite topic of everybody, right? Cell phones. We have a cell phone mobile communication device use policy that can be found in your student handbook on pages 25 and 26. We are going to take this very, very seriously this year. All right, and we do this in order to help you guys develop positive social relationships, create effective academic habits, better time management, and a better digital citizenship skill. Believe it or not, even as Christians, we need to behave properly on these things as well. We have this policy in place to benefit you, and we're going to take it very seriously this year. Freshmen, we know they can't have them, but all grades who misuse their cell phone or mobile communication device, and that means during class, that means during academic seminar, and definitely chapel, all right? You cannot have those in locker rooms or restrooms. Any misusing of these items, they will be confiscated. Now listen to what our handbook says. We can hold it in the office overnight for 3 days. We can for your first offense. We can hold it up to 5 days for your second offense and 10 days for a third offense. After that, you won't be allowed to have your phone at school, which I know is a big inconvenience for you and probably how you communicate with your parents and other things for rides and that sort of thing. So let's keep this in mind. We're going to take this very seriously this year, and it's only going to be a benefit to you. So just keep that in mind. Any misusing that will result in being confiscated. Students, you will not be called out of class to answer the phone. If there's an important message to get to you, we will get that to you from the office. All right? Students, you may make calls before and after school, during lunch hours and study halls, only in the lobby area or the school office. You have to keep that in mind. You can't just take your phone out and call mom and dad. You need to come to us in the office and let us know what's going on. And mom and dad, if you want to call your student or get in touch with them, please do not call or text during the school hours. Come through the office to notify your student of something that they need to know about, all right? And again, cell phone calling or texting must be done in our lobby area. Guys, be responsible. These are huge, amazing tools that we have in the palm of our hand, right? We can go anywhere in the world and see anything and hear anything and learn anything. But there are parameters that we need to set that's going to better you, as I mentioned earlier, socially and academically, and just managing that time and having those good skills, all right? Don't let it become a huge distraction. They are allowed, but you have to have your teacher's permission in any one of these areas that we mentioned earlier. Get to know your student handbook on this section. Driving and parking. We know that you guys are allowed to drive to and from school. Cars are off limits during the school day. You will not be able to go out to your car just because you forgot something. Make sure when you come in every morning, you bring the stuff that you need. You can park in that big lot immediately in front of our school, not over by the football field or baseball fields. Park in the front. This is going to help us to know who is here and should be here, right? Register your vehicle in the front office. That's going to help us know who's here and who's driving what, so we can better, again, be monitoring that in a safe way. Any violation of proper use of the automobiles will result in the student not being allowed to drive to and from school. I know this would be a big inconvenience if you weren't able to do that. So let's make sure that we adhere to the rules set in place for a safe parking lot. No donuts, no peeling out, no fast driving through the parking lot. You have to be careful. You're not the only one out there. I want to keep all of you safe, so keep that in mind. All right, a few more reminders. We are a closed campus, meaning you're not allowed to just leave campus to go home because you forgot something. If you forgot something, have mom and dad, aunt and uncle, grandma, grandpa bring that to you. No leaving for lunch and no outside food brought in for lunch as well. That's pretty self-explanatory. You need to check out in the office when you leave for appointments. You can't leave out any other door in the school except the front door. Again, this is a safety thing. We want to know where you guys are at all times. And if you come in and out that front door, we can better do that for your safety and for everybody's safety. And finally, some general reminders. Plagiarism. Make sure you're doing your own work, all right? And now we live in a time where there's use of artificial intelligence. All right, and that's going to be a big deal this year. Unless the teacher of a course specifically permits the use of AI tools for any particular assignment or test, students should not use it, all right, to complete all or even part of your work. You're going to have a chance to work with it, but don't claim it as your own. Keep that in mind. We're going to be monitoring that as well, and there's ways of finding out if or if not it was used by you. Keep that in mind. No Fs or incompletes. That equals eligibility. We take your grades very seriously here at Valley, all right? Make sure you're doing your best and getting those good grades or maintaining those good grades so you can participate. Because if you have an F or an incomplete, when we check those periodically throughout the year, you will not be eligible again for those extracurricular activities, whether it be music, drama, sports, anything like that outside of your academic class. So keep that in mind. Stay eligible, keep those grades up. And finally, what kind of example, you upperclassmen, what do you want to be this year for these freshmen coming in? They're going to be watching you. They're going to see all that you do and what you do, whether it be good or bad, right? So make sure that you make it your ambition this year to be an example for these young people, these young men and women coming in. As it says in 1 Timothy 4:12 on the slide here, be an example in your speech, in your conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. Remember what Paul says in 1 Corinthians, I think it's chapter 5 maybe, don't quote me on that, but he says, make it your ambition to please God. And when you please God, you're going to please your teachers and administrators and all the other faculty that come along, let alone the underclassmen that are watching you. Set that example for them. Make it an ambition, a goal, a drive every day to please God. And watch the results kind of trickle out and be impressive to your teachers and everybody else in that building. And just make sure that all that we say and do, we want to give God the glory, right? And we're going to learn more about what that purpose, our theme this year, right? You're created for a purpose. Well, this is one of them. You're a student at Valley Lutheran High School. And your opportunity now is to be an example for those underclassmen to look up to strive to. So keep that in mind. I look forward to being your dean. I can't wait to see you in the hallways. Have a blessed evening.